Hello students, I welcome you all to this video lecture. This is Ocean Acidification and it is D. Rajashekar, lecturer in botany, Katta Ramakoteswara Government Degree College, Addanki, Bapatla district. Students, in recent times we have been learning different ecological problems and their causes and their effects and how to control them from our side. This time you are going to learn about ocean acidification. It is a serious threat to the entire world. Oceans are great ecological sources and benefits for the mankind. So many ecosystems would operate in it. We have so many advantages of ocean and ocean activities. But unfortunately, because of over greediness and industrialization, we are spoiling its wealth and health. In this video, you will learn how the oceans are being spoiled by our activities. Since the industrial revolution, the amount of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere has been increased. Generally or naturally, the oceans absorb about 30% of the carbon dioxide that was released into the atmosphere. As CO2 is absorbed by seawater, number of chemical reactions take place, resulting in the increased concentration of hydrogen ions in the ocean. It leads to the changes in the pH. When the pH is changed, we will expect a lot of disruption in the aquatic ecosystems. So when the more amount of hydrogen ions are dissolved in the sea waters, it becomes more acidic and causes carbonate ions to be relatively less abundant and hydrogen ions are more in number. When CO2 dissolves in seawater to produce aqueous CO2 and forms of carbonic acid, H2CO3. This carbonic acid rapidly dissociates into bicarbonate ions and hydrogen ions. These bicarbonate ions dissociate into carbonate ions and hydrogen ions. These hydrogen ions lower the pH of the solution and makes ocean more acidic. Thus, you can see these changes. When CO2 is dissolved in ocean water, it becomes H2CO3. This H2CO3 is dissociated into HCO3 plus H plus. HCO3 further dissociates into carbonates plus hydrogen ions. Generally, when CO2 dissolves in seawater, it does not fully dissolve immediately into carbonate ions and hydrogen ions because seawater itself acts as buffer against the changes in pH. CO2 plus CO3 plus H2O gives 2HCO3. CO2 is effectively neutralized by the reaction with the carbonates to produce HCO3. The HCO3 produced then partly dissociates into protons and decrease the pH, but not in harmful levels. But when CO2 is released in high amounts, when it is added to the seawater, so automatically it leads to the decrease the formation of carbonates becomes so less and the release of hydrogen ions becomes more. This fluctuation actually leads to the ocean acidification. It was first observed by Roser, Revelli and Hans Swiss in 1957. It is then intuitive that the buffering capacity of seawater will decrease as more CO2 is dissolved in it. So what happens when this acidification happens in a regular way every year? Generally, the ocean acidification happens because of the anthropogenic CO2 release. Because of industrialization burning of fossil fuels, manufacturing processes, and also because of agriculture, the amount of CO2 emission into the atmosphere has become more than that of the previous years. And another big problem is fossil fuel consumption, combustion. The burning of fossil fuels such as coal, oil, natural gases release large amounts of CO2 into the atmosphere. It leads to a decrease in pH levels and an increase of acidity in the oceans. Deforestation and land use changes. Because of cutting down of trees year by year for various purposes, leads to this contributes to this ocean acidification. Why? Because when we emit CO2 into the atmosphere, trees serve as a carbon reservoirs because they depend on carbon dioxide for photosynthesis. They absorb more amount of CO2 and deposit in their tissues. But when these trees are cut down indiscriminatively, there is no absorption of CO2 in the atmosphere. So as it is, it gets dissolved in the seawater. Because of the increased CO2 levels in the seawater, automatically the release of hydrogen ions is more and more. When the hydrogen ions are released in high amounts, automatically the pH goes down, that it becomes acidic in nature. So thus deforestation is also a great threat for ocean's health and wealth. What problems are faced by the mankind or other living entities on the earth? Ocean ecosystems are largely affected. Food webs or food chains are affected because some tropical levels grow well than that of the others. For example, in seawater generally, seagrasses grow more because of more CO2. It leads to the decreased growth of other tropical levels. So there will be an imbalance in the ocean ecosystems. Coral reefs, build their skeletons using calcium carbonates. When ocean acidity increases, because of the decreased amounts of carbonates, they cannot build their skeleton. So that automatically, they start to be melted and resulting the diminution of coral reefs. All other water animals which depend or live with these coral reefs are adversely affected. Nearly 500 million people worldwide depend on coral reef ecosystems for food, and they are also very much needed for coastal protection and income for tourism and also fisheries. Their lives would also be affected by the ocean acidification. The life of water animals will be brought under threat. So, what we should do to control this problem? We must be careful, and we must be very aware of our activities. Our actions must be eco-friendly. We must be judicious in doing our activities, and we must confirm or assure whether they are eco-friendly or not. First of all, our attitude should be changed, and moreover that we must organize awareness programs about these ocean acidifications and its serious threats to the globe. And government should also frame stringent laws for industries as well as for the people to cut down or to control this ocean acidification. By doing all this, we can change our oceans again healthy and wealthy, so that our life would go on so well. So, live and let live should be our motto. This is the only planet for the entire living organisms, so that we must protect it by all good deeds from our side. Hope you have understood this very problem, and I also encourage you all to be eco-friendly. Thank you all.